Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for film lovers. Every Monday, I sit down to talk about recently watched movies with my close personal friend and artist, Danny Haas.
I mean, it's disgusting. This is an absolutely disgusting movie.
And our own spiritual advisor and movie insider, Proto.
Yeah, it was a bodiless head who was connected to tubes, and it was just swallowing it all. Yeah, I mean, but we can't confirm that it's poop.
30 years in the making. Later in the show, we're covering Phil Tippett's Mad God, streaming now on Shudder. Is this the most disgusting movie ever made? The answer is yes, but did we like it? Find out now. Should we talk about Batman Beyond just a little bit more?
Oh my
Batman
gosh,
Beyond.
you want to talk about it more.
Proto,
What?
you love Batman Beyond, right?
The animated show? Yeah.
What if they did a movie? Michael Keaton as old Bruce. Who would you cast as Batman Beyond, Terry?
See, you got to be prepared for this. This is tough.
I'm going to say something stupid. Some stupid answer no one wants to hear.
Don't say Chalamet.
Austin Butler.
Don't say Austin Butler. Don't say Chalamet.
No, we have to go deeper. Oh, hold on a second. How about Elliot Page?
Oh,
From the Umbrella Academy?
Whoa.
I'm listening.
Whoa.
I'm
Elliot Page as Terry McGinnis?
listening.
Mm-hmm.
That would be dynamite. My
Excuse me. Yeah, that would
God. Is that
slap.
the greatest casting in the history of this podcast?
Someone call us, Warner Brothers.
Bill Warner, can you get on the horn and talk to us? Discovery
Please.
Brothers, whatever your company is called these days. Nobody knows. You know they're folding all the Discovery shows into one app, Danny?
Where's my Expedition Bigfoot going? That's what I want to know. Where's Destination Fear going?
Oh, yeah, we do need a new season of Destination Fear coming soon. Maybe for a watch-along episode, we should watch Destination Fear with Proto.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
There's some
you
good
guys seem
apps.
to have quite a lot of fun watching all these shows. So it'd be fun.
Mad God is our featured presentation. This is our 125th episode. It's 30 years in the making, Mad God. We'll be getting into it. It's streaming on Shudder. Get that free trial, babe. Fire it up, log in, and hopefully send your kids to bed before you watch Mad God. We'll get into it later in the show. I do want to remind everyone that our theme for next month is picked, 90s action. It was a vote in the Discord. Our supporters on Patreon voted, and this is Proto's pick. So, Proto, you're going to be revealing your first movie for 90s action later in this show.
Yeah. That's true. I've got it written down right here in front of me. My pick is locked in.
Oh,
It's a big one.
It's locked.
It's locked. Stone cold lock.
Gosh.
Did you go to Walmart in the $2 bin and just fish your hand around to see what came out with a DVD?
Yeah, I was perusing the Walmart bin. They got, it's 20 by 20 bin there, 5 feet tall.
It's like a ball pit. They just jump in.
Scrooge McDucked it. Jumped in and swam around.
Phil's a dump truck. Yeah.
Danny, did you watch any movies this week?
Yeah, I watched 2 movies. We were perusing the HBO Max catalog the other night.
Bless.
And we watched Good Will Hunting. It's been a long time. Probably, I may have only seen this movie once before, years ago. And good Lord, this movie is still good. Still slaps. Ben and Matt were cooking with gas. But Robin Williams, it's so hard to watch him in these roles now because I miss him so much. He's incredible in this film. Like top tier Robin. I couldn't get enough of him in this. It was amazing to watch this movie again.
Wasn't this movie that like kicked off the Affleck and Damon careers, right? Did they write this? Am I making that up?
Yeah, they wrote it super young, for sure. Robin won for this too. Best supporting.
97.
Could be great up. I've never seen Good Will Hunting.
Wow.
I don't think.
Wait.
Damon was
Ever?
27 when they wrote this.
27.
I can't believe you haven't seen Good Will Hunting. That's surprising.
No. I remember like
that was almost my fall vibe.
Matt Damon
pick.
is like solving a math problem on a chalkboard or something. He's a janitor. He's like a genius, right? Something like that.
Yeah, this is the
Nailed
plot.
it.
Yeah. Nailed it. You did it.
That's the climax of the movie. Sorry, everybody.
Robin Williams month. There was talk about doing a John Candy month in the Discord.
I would do Robin first, though, please.
What other white man can we prop up for an entire month in this podcast? Let's get them all in. Make it a whole year. White year.
That's what we've been doing for 125 episodes.
We're trying, okay, folks? We're trying to spread the diversity around on this show as best we can.
But Goodwill was great. Great movie. Last Father's Day weekend, I got them telling a story on how we got to watching Angels and Demons recently. I was getting a tattoo, my Petite Maman tattoo, and it's on my watch arm. And so I'm wearing this old Mickey Mouse watch. And the tattoo artist was like, hey, this is the watch from Angels and Demons, the one Tom Hanks wears. I'm like, what are you talking about? And
What?
apparently he's wearing some old Mickey Mouse watch. It's a part of the story. And so Casey got to reading it because of how much he said the book was great. Casey read it. So now that she finished reading it, we watched the movie. And man, what a fun movie.
3 stars.
3 stars. Good time. I love Tom in this, but I'm all for these Illuminati, secret society type stories. I love them. I can eat them up. Puzzles,
Is that the sequel
hunting.
to Da Vinci Code?
Prequel
that
to... Yeah, so it's a second movie, but it's a prequel to Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Jesus wear the Mickey Mouse watch? Is that the big reveal?
Yeah, Tom Hanks is Jesus in it.
What are they searching for in Angels and Demons? I never watched any of them after the first
Angels
one.
and Demons, the Illuminati, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Illuminati kidnapped 4 of the cardinals after the death of one of the old popes. So it's coming into time when they need to get a new pope, etc. It's Tom is like the forefront of this, I don't know, finding out of the Catholic Church stuff.
Did you watch it with Casey?
Yeah. We watched it.
Did she like the book better or the movie?
I don't know that answer. She's in chat. I'm going to guess she liked...
Equal.
Oh, there you go. Equal.
The main thing I remember from the first movie is that Tom Hanks' hair is like very strange.
It's better in this movie. It is strange in Da Vinci Code. I do remember that. I thought this was a fun movie, though.
His hair's giving me Tom Cruise Mission Impossible 2 vibes.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Did you hold on? Did you just compare Tom Hanks' hair in Da Vinci Code to Tom Hanks or to Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2?
Yeah. Isn't that the one where he has the long hair? Or is that 3?
It's 2, but he's got great hair in 2.
Okay.
Just so stunned.
2's
by
probably
this.
the best
No,
part.
it's
hairs.
less about the hair. It's a bit more about like the shock value. Like I was shocked seeing the Tom Cruise hair. I'm shocked seeing the Tom Hanks hair. Equally shocked.
I just posted a photo of Tom Hanks with the hair. It's like he just sucked on a lemon and they took a photo of his mouth after that. Poor Tom.
Look at the fade on the side of his head.
Yeah, he's got that fade. That's the movies I watched this week.
Thank you. Let's see. Do I want to mention some friends that joined our Patreon this week? You could do so at 70mmpod.com. Get access to uncut eps, exclusive episodes that are just for supporters. We got about 30 in there. And there's another tier for interns. We don't talk about it too much, but there's another tier where intern level gets access to watch-alongs, where we 3 watch a movie together. We record it and send that out And wouldn't it be great if there was like a video attached somehow? Like you could just watch it and listen. That'd be cool. We have our next watch along picked, by the way. We have the movie picked. It's locked. We're not going to reveal it now. Just FYI. Just for interns. Proto, did you watch any movies?
I did watch a movie or two. I finally got to watch Stanley Kubrick's 1957 Paths of Glory. This has been on my watch list forever. And every time I go to think of it, when I see it on my watch list, I'm just like, now's not the time. I've been saying that for 2 years. Just like, I'm like black and white, 1957, Stanley Kubrick. Do I really want to go down this road? Mm-hmm. But the other night I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I was feeling it. And this movie rules. I gave it 5 stars. Couldn't believe it. Honestly, was not expecting this.
Goodness.
But I do have a soft spot for Kirk Douglas for sure. He plays. It's in World War I, the French line. He is a colonel, and he's in charge of like a battalion of men or something, and they are sent on this mission. Doesn't go well, and then after that, most of the movie centers around this court martial involving some of his men. And yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous Stanley Kubrick movie, as you would expect, you know? It looks great in black and white. Kirk Douglas, that chin, God, no one's ever done it like him.
Chin for days.
He's got that dimple.
Have you seen 20,000 Leagues, Proto? Singing and dancing?
I don't know. I've seen Spartacus. That's the movie that I watched. I don't know why, but I watched Spartacus many times as a kid, which is another Stanley Kubrick movie. And Douglas stars in that. So I love Douglas for that. But this movie is fantastic.
I want to read from your review, if I may.
Please.
Quote, Kirk Douglas in a uniform, Mamma Mia Pizzeria.
Yeah.
Or did you watch this on Paramount Plus?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. It's on there and Amazon. I thought it was a Criterion, but maybe it's not on there right now.
Ismail's asking about The Killing. I feel like a bunch of folks in our Discord watched The Killing and kind of went over like a wet fart.
Yeah, Killing sucks.
I turned it off. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, I had that on my watch list as well. And then when some reviews came in, I kind of went lukewarm. What about this How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World?
Oh, no.
My wife took our kids to the library. So they were looking for a movie. And they came away with this. There was 2 other movies that they wanted to get. But I said, we can watch these on streaming. I'm not paying. I'm not paying for this.
Wait,
so we just got
this free.
Not this library. You have to rent the movies.
What?
Yeah, what?
It kind of sucks. Yeah. That's why I don't really go there.
Country.
I don't believe in paying for movies. All right.
Shaking my damn head.
Yeah. It's terrible having to pay for a DVD. But yeah, so we got How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, which is the 3rd movie in the series. It was fine. You know, it's okay. I don't really love the art style in these movies. I think it looks great for what it is, but it's just not really my cup of tea. But then the worst part is that the guy who voices, what's his name? Jay Baruchel or something is terrible. I don't know why, who's in charge of this, but his voice is just very bad. And he's the star of the movie. He's the lead, and you have to listen to him the whole time. I don't know what they were thinking.
He's got an interesting voice.
Before we get 1-star reviews for this, I'm just going to be the one host that said the How to Train a Dragon is a perfect trilogy. I love these movies dearly. I'm really shocked you don't like them as much, Proto.
First 2 are great. I really love the first 2.
Third one's great too. What?
Third one, I don't know. I didn't vibe with. Third one, I felt like I didn't want a third one. I think I remember the ending of 2 being pretty good.
I love these movies so much.
There's whispers on YouTube. I've been getting YouTube recommended videos on rumors of this new Epic Universal land.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a How to Train Your Dragon land. I also got a like a YouTube algo suggestion that they're going to make the Ministry of Magic
Mm-hmm.
in this new land. The whole
amazing.
walk through area.
Big deal.
And then you can go through the teleporter. What's it called? Floof? Go through the floof.
The floof.
And you're walking through a whole different area. So I'm really excited. Big Harry Potter fan right here.
Sounds like it.
Let's give out a free year of Letterboxd Pro. Every week, we try to, if I remember, to give out a free year of Letterboxd Pro for folks that share the show on social media. A disclaimer, I am a Letterboxd employee. This week's winner is Philip Marinello. He shared our Booksmart episode. Still haven't seen this yet, but sharing for a shot at that Letterboxd Pro.
Oh, he shot a shot.
Give it to him.
Very bold, and it worked. So you just got a free year of Letterboxd Pro.
Goodness.
I saw a movie last night, went into Center City, Philadelphia, got my car, drove down there.
Mm-hmm.
I got a screening of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Any of you ever heard of this movie?
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't know this was coming out until like a week ago.
There was a series of shorts made like a decade ago that were pretty popular.
Yeah.
Jenny Slate, you might know, does the voice of Marcel. Dean Fleischer Camp is the director, but the plot of it's like a mockumentary film where he goes into an Airbnb and realizes there's a shell that can talk, and he starts like filming him rather. And Marcel reveals that me and my grandmother got separated from our family, our community of shells, and I would love to try to connect with them. And he posts one video on YouTube and it blows up. So that is the plot of the movie. And I gave 5 stars. 5 bang. Horde.
Is Chris Pratt in it?
Stop. God.
Sounds like a Chris Pratt vehicle.
There is no Chris Pratt. Jenny Slate is amazing. I believe she's like a co-creator, co-writer to the story with Dean. I'm trying not to hype it up. Like these 5 stars coming out from everybody, yada, yada, yada. Try to see it if you can. The last 15 minutes are incredibly inspirational.
Oh, goodness.
I was a mess in my chair as I left the theater.
Ew.
I was a mess.
Okay.
But I think we should talk about Mad God.
Oh, gosh.
30 years in the making. 3 Kickstarters. Did you know that? There's 3 Kickstarters.
Big deal.
The first, I didn't know that until I started doing my little internet research.
Oh.
First Kickstarter.
Where were you in 2012?
The movie would be delivered in 2013 to backers. Kickstarter Part 2. Movie would be delivered in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter Part 3. Delivery would be 2017. So
big time.
Here we are, 2022.
I mean, he shared it in parts though, right?
I mean, the Kickstarters were called parts. I don't know if he just delivered a third of the movie.
Yeah, you could have watched parts of it. Those parts. Let's not drag Phil right off the bat.
I would never drag Phil.
Thank you.
I would never drag Phil. Okay? It's been a long journey.
This is not a dragging.
This is not a drag
get it twisted.
pod. You want to listen to a drag pod? Go listen to our last 3 episodes where we talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll never talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi ever again. This is a positivity palace moving forward.
New leaf.
Proto, what's this movie?
Positivity palace.
A diving bell descends into a black abyss of ruins and death. On board, a masked figure known as the Assassin has a map and a suitcase. Finally landing on the surface, the assassin begins their trek on foot, careful to avoid the many horrors that inhabit the land. There is an army of faceless drones, giants in electric chairs, bodiless heads kept alive only to feed, and writhing mutations of flesh and metal that cannot be described. From a corpse is pulled a screaming fetus that will be liquefied, smelted, crushed to powder, and finally flung into a portal only for a new world of horror to be made once more. This is Mad God.
Smelted is a great word. Just want to give you props for that.
Good.
I wanted to use emulsify, but it actually doesn't fit with what happened, unfortunately.
Something was emulsified at some point in this film.
Danny's soul, I think, was emulsified while watching it. So this is a big release on Shudder. I'm always excited when Shudder gets like some new stuff. Like they've gotten some kind of like never released movies finally distributed. They get the rights to it. It's pretty cool. So I'm a Shudder subscriber. I will not be canceling the trial because I've already had it. So I had heard buzz. I think we talked about the buzz in the show together, and then we're like in our DMs like, man, it'd be really cool to do this movie. Proto, do you remember anything previous to that or anything about this live action mix stop motion movie?
I just remember when the trailer came out and seeing it and knowing I had to see this. You know, it's how often do you see, you know, a full stop motion animated movie? I mean, Wallace and Gromit, was that like the last one?
Once every
Chicken
35
Run?
years.
Yeah, it's like every 35 years. You can't miss this. So I was very excited when this was announced.
Haley's Comet. What's the studio that does the stop motion movies though? Yeah, what's that gift from Daniel Cura?
That's Kubo and the Strings, 5 Strings.
Oh yeah, Laka Studios? Is that what it is?
That studio is pretty cool. Their movies
Kubo's
are good.
top tier. That's some of the best stop animation film ever.
Danny, what about you? Did you have any Mad God vibes previous to our discussion? Anything leading up?
Well, I knew about the Kickstarter because of how much I love Phil. I didn't back it, obviously. That was years ago. I probably didn't really know what Kickstarter was. But yeah, I had known that he had done this from just any sort of Star Wars research with Phil and what he's doing these days. So that's about it. But yeah, this was my first time seeing any bits of it.
Yeah, first time seeing the bits. I mean, there
Lots
definitely
of
were
bits.
bits in this
Lots of
film.
bits.
We'll get into that. I have a special section dedicated to the bits. Who wants to go first? Let's hear from Proto first to kick things off.
Yeah, the thing that really blew me away, first of all, in this, and that it's something I don't remember seeing in stop motion, was the fire and the lighting in this was like absolutely insane to me. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know how it was even done. Because obviously stop motion is, you know, they're shooting each individual frame. I forget what it is. I don't know if it's like 20 frames or somewhere around there. But this, like, you couldn't even tell that there was a break in the light. Or I don't know if they layered it over top of each other. Like they shot the light and then added it in and then like, you know, did like post effects. But it just looked amazing to me.
I think it was some After Effects, not After Effects, the program, but probably. But I think the fire was brought in afterwards. I don't know if it's actual stop motion type trickery for that and the lighting itself. But I agree. There were so many scenes that were just, and the first like 5 minutes of this, the descent into basically hell is like magic. It's just watching what he created, how it's lit, how it's filmed. It's insane. Like it was gorgeous.
Yeah. There's one shot where the soldier is going underground. Let me see if I have it in my notes. But the camera moves in such a way while it's being stop motion that it just looks impossible to actually put the time and effort into this shot. It's like coming down and then it loops up and then it loops around these pipes while the character is walking through it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is like so hard that you were able to do this. And this is a complete product. Like that was one of my main notes was that this is a finished thing, and that Phil Tippett, with the help of probably many people over the course of years, was able to finish this, and it's a complete product, like a passion project. And I felt like I could see that in almost every shot. Like every scene that I was looking at, I was like, oh my God, this took forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There were the shots where it was like panning through the city and the little putty monster guys were like walking. But then like it would come down like an alleyway. And then like further back, there were things walking around and moving as well. So they're not just stop motion what is in the foreground. There's still stop motion happening in the background as well. And just the idea that, just the foresight to see that you have to be doing all this at once is what makes Phil an absolute legend. Yeah,
there was a scene early on where it was like so intricate, but it only had like 2 seconds of screen time. And I just thought like how much time was devoted to making this set and then only having like 2 seconds of it being on this in the final product. It just seemed like unbelievable because everything in this movie is handcrafted. Really incredible.
For new folks, we usually each host has 3 bullet points that we write down while we watch, and we'll go round table until we get through all those before we give our final rating. My first note is, well, I have some thoughts on the vibe, but the first note that I had is that first scene. Okay. Him floating down for what felt like 15 minutes of the first part of the movie. It's just him descending in that tube and kind of going through like the centuries of change and ruin in that city. And you see like the buildings, you see bones, you see statues, and like an alien head kind of like in the dirt. It reminded me of in Futurama about the mutants that live underground, like after the nuclear fall, because they just build society on top of that. It's like all still underground. But seeing that stuff was so cool and such an amazing start to the movie because you get like excited and you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like I hope we just explore a percentage of any of this stuff that I'm seeing on screen, and I'm all in.
Yeah, that stuff was, all that stuff is incredible. And to me, it doesn't even like matter. I know a lot of people were saying, a lot of reviews that I saw of like, well, I don't get the story or I couldn't make any sense of it, but it was pretty to look at. But to me, that's like the whole point of this. Honestly, I almost didn't even care if it made sense or not. Just the creativity that was oozing out of this was just so incredible. I thought about like, if I were to go to make a stop motion story like this, right? How you even come up with a single set? Like everything had to be decided. Yeah. Like someone had to envision all of this before it gets created. And the thought that you have 90 minutes of it is amazing.
Yeah. I will have to say, I was in that boat of what is the story? Like I am 45 minutes into this film and I honestly couldn't tell you a plot point at all or like what is happening. And I feel like I got to the end of the film as well, like almost frustrated that I couldn't pin a narrative of what was going on. But also I was in love with it as well. It's disgusting. Like this is an absolutely disgusting movie, but it's insanely creative. And you just know that he didn't hold back anything, any decisions on what he wanted to make. He was making this grotesque movie that was just a nightmare fuel. That's all I can think about.
How about the scene, the electrocution pooping scene?
Excuse me.
What a moment. Walking by that.
Listen.
When you gotta go, you always go.
That was disgusting.
And those things were big. He was like a miniature compared to the guys that were getting electrocuted to poop to death.
Also, wasn't it going down something's throat?
I don't know.
It was
that
like
was
a
going-
funnel into another guy's mouth.
Yeah, it was
I didn't see
a
that.
bodiless head who was like connected to like tubes, and it was just swallowing it all.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but we can't confirm that it's poop.
I mean,
It was some sort of innards coming out of the
innards
bodies.
coming out of your rear orifices. Danny, what's your
Kind
number
of like
one?
Slim watching Marcel.
They're coming out of my eye orifices, not my rear. Number one, Danny, or was that your number one?
Number one, I wanted to talk about Phil and the making of this. So it's being promoted like it's being the 35 years in the making. And that's like, it's a real, like I kept thinking like, oh, he thought about this 35 years ago. And then, 2012-ish, let's just make this movie. But he really started making this film, 35 millimeter film cameras, after he did RoboCop 2. And the reason he stopped because he got called away to do Jurassic Park. And we talked about Phil for a second on our Jurassic Park episode because he created the, when they were trying to figure out how to do the T-Rexes, he created the T-Rex, the stop motion T-Rex. And that's when Dennis Muren came in and did the ILM and the CGI. But they still used Phil's T-Rex as like a mocap for the animators because obviously they couldn't. The animation was tough. So he shelved it. He shelved Mad God right after RoboCop 2 and before Jurassic Park. And as his studio started getting more popular, I mean, if you're listening to this and don't know Phil worked on A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Temple of Doom, like RoboCop, Jurassic Park, Starship Troopers, like anything, Twilight. I mean, he ended up doing Jurassic Park Fallen Worlds and stuff like that. So it's insane, the stuff he's worked on. But this, for as gross as this film is, and I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, it's insanely inspiring to see an artist like Phil to just be at the top of his game and create this film over 35 years with help of people that just wanted to work with him and make this happen for him. It's incredibly inspiring to see this happen for him. And it's an amazing movie.
Yeah, there's a 4-minute doc on YouTube that that you can watch where it's just like they talk to Phil for a few minutes and he just said like he couldn't not make this. Like it's like all he does, all he thinks about. It just like consumes him all of his free time. He's just making stop motion animation, which is wild.
Wild.
Proto, number two for you.
Number two is the scene with the surgeon.
Oh my God.
So our boy, the assassin or girl, whoever they are, gets captured and is taken into this, what seems to be like a hospital, if you could call it that.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing set where the camera comes down and it's, you have the like half of the building gone and you see each room and it's just like a body that's been, taken apart, and the assassin is laying there and this surgeon and nurse come in and they start cutting him open. And then, but it goes on for about 5 minutes of the surgeon just pulling
So long.
his guts out, but then like jewelry, coins, books, paper, finally they get to this creature fetus type thing with basically a set of teeth and a tail who won't stop screaming.
Almost like a xenomorph.
But that is just an amazing scene with amazing, also like the sound in this is incredible. If you ever want to know what guts sound like, here it is.
This would be, I now that I think about it, I probably should have listened on my Roku Pro remote headphones during that scene.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how about the scene? I thought my head was going to explode, but when the camera focused on the clock, that scene felt like it was 30 minutes long. Just the
slowed down the
clock
hands?
going
Yeah.
slow. And I was going nuts. I was like, oh my God, how long is the camera going to look at this clock? Like,
Stressing
I feel
me out.
like the dude or gal, the assassin on this table right now. Like, I'm going to die.
Right?
Or I'm going to kill myself if I hear this ticking clock again. And then that surgery scene, I mean, he's pulling guts out for a long time. For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to be like, what is going on, Phil? Phil, what's happening here? But yeah, just a nutty scene. I love how there were like people watching when they first took like their clothes off in the shadows. Like it was a show almost for the initial like bringing the assassin in. But yeah, that scene is nuts. It's long. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there was some kind of metaphorical meaning in the jewelry in the chest. That's all I could get out of that.
I'm going to go with probably not. He just thought it was a good idea.
Maybe.
What also that was great about that scene was our introduction to the live action actors and having actual real people. But the way he filmed it, they're jittery. Like they almost look stop motion, which I thought was genius to add in because it doesn't take away from the film as much when you have the stop animation of the assassin being cut open. But when you cut back and it's the two actors kind of there, the way it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like there's just like frames taken out and they almost look stop animation themselves when they're putting on the gloves or the scalpel. And it was great. Great scene.
Yeah, I thought there was some crossover because I thought some of the stop animation then looked so incredibly smooth at times that it didn't look like stop animation or stop motion, which was cool.
So I'm kind of the opposite. I didn't love the live action switching. Maybe this is my own fault for not like realizing there could be live action in this at all. So when like the real people came on, I was like, "Oh, what's going on here? Get out of my stop motion animation movie!" And at the onset, they did. It did look like they were like stop motion ish, and I wonder if that was just kind of like to get the viewer used to seeing actors like real people on screen because I felt like it left later, especially when they showed that like main bad guy with the fingernails. The old dude, like I feel like I didn't get that like frame per second thing when he was on screen.
Oh wait, the plague doctor?
No, was the old guy the plague doctor?
The one that takes the fetus? Because that's my next note.
Give it.
Oh, that's my favorite scene. Oh. That the design of that plague doctor, the flowing of the pieces of cloth, and I honestly think that was like a stop motion character as well, but like a full size figure.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
But it's very smooth. I love the way it flowed. That scene was trippy as hell, and when it ground up that fetus into like shiny
putty
dust, right? It was. I don't know. I loved it. It was incredible.
You knew they had to do it to him.
But yeah, for me, that scene, that was like my favorite. That was my favorite character, I think, that the way that plague doctor looked. I really loved the design of that character. He was they were very creepy. And
yeah, the flowing robe stuff was cool. I couldn't really tell how I was looking, like what I was looking at and how it was made. It was too blurred for me.
Yeah, there was a shot of Phil in one of the docs where he has like the long fingered puppet and he's controlling it by like cords or like the pulley system type things, closing and opening. So I think that was a full, like a giant stop motion figure.
Wow. Honestly, the plague doctor was the thing that creeped me out the most in this movie. It was very unnerving the way it was moving. And then when the hands came out, there was like so much detail, but it was hard to see.
Right.
It was very, very creepy.
My number 2 is about like the vibe. The whole thing reminded me of a late night MTV music video that I would see. Like, do you remember the Genesis song Land of Confusion?
Yeah.
Where it was like Ronald Reagan and I think his wife. Like, if you put Land of Confusion in the back of any of these scenes, like, it would work perfectly. it like was one of those like weird out moments. Like if I had seen this as a kid, I would have like vague memories of that like effed up music video that I saw as a kid, just like Land of Confusion. Like Land of Confusion, I think I saw when I was way too young, and it just warped me. Like if anyone has time, Google that on YouTube. But that vibe, I loved so much. I mean, there's not really anything like this mainstream that is like this weird or gory in any way, shape, or form. So that was just something that jumped out at me 100% while I was watching it. So I watched this twice. And the second time I started to get like more of so like there's like these, what did you call them? Gooey, the worker people? Putty people. They're like this society, all the work is being done by these laborers. They look like they're like made out of like hair or ash or whatever you want to call it. And they're just like easily destroyed. Like heavy things fall on them, they're dead, but they're making more of them to run the society. So in the second viewing, I started to get like big time, I don't know if this was Phil's intention, but like big time anti like corporation stuff, like how you just work and you die and that's it. Like every scene that these like putty people get killed, it's just like, oh yeah, that's like you working to death for the man, for big corporations that don't give a crap. And then later in the movie, when they kill the fetus and grind it into sparkly things, dust. And they try to like rebuild the world, the same thing just ends up happening again. Mm-hmm. And it's just like this never-ending cycle. So I started to get like some deeper meaning on the second viewing that I did not get on the first viewing, for sure, just because I was able to just kind of like look at things differently. So that was just the vibe that I got.
Well, my third point was going to be the story because I don't know, but for me, this movie made like perfect sense. Like from the beginning, watching the whole thing, I just felt, and I don't know if like what Phil intended with the story, but to me, it felt like very clear, at least how I was watching it. It starts with the Tower of Babel, where they're trying to build a tower to heaven. That's a story in the Bible. That's like the first interaction that people, after leaving the Garden of Eden, that's when after they fall from grace, that's the interaction they have with God to try to reach heaven. They build a tower and then God confuses them, and they can't anymore. And he even starts with showing a chapter or like some verses from Leviticus, and it's about some pretty strong words from God, just about like help, tear people apart and rip them from their wombs and all like kind of crazy stuff. So to me, this was like a very much like an inverse of what you would hear from like the Judeo-Christian version of God. Like instead of a God of grace, you have a God of madness, or a God who's like extremely pissed off. And there's so many things that like line up to me in that. Like if you take everything and like try to flip it around, it makes sense. I could talk about it for a while, but I think the most, like the thing that stood out to me was like, so these assassins are leaving a high place and coming down, which is like what Jesus does. And then instead of trying to save the world, they're trying to destroy the world. So they bring this suitcase and they go there. And instead of being unique in one, there, as we see, there's thousands of suitcases there. So instead of being unique as like the Son of God, they are countless fodder to try to destroy this world. And instead of like when you save the world, giving eternal life to everyone, they're giving eternal death to this world if they could just like set this bomb off. And like, that's just like one thing, but there's like so many things in this movie. I think if you look at it from that perspective and just say like, what is the opposite of what the story is in the Bible, it all like makes sense to me. Like, so as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, Phil, right on, man. This is crazy. So I had like the time of my life watching this, like just, and I mean, I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to like, like that story of the Bible. So just watching it, it just made a lot of sense to me as I was watching it. So I was having a great time.
Bible Insider. Our Art in chat. We always bust Art's chops. In Discord, Art watched it, I think, before everyone gave it 3 stars. Mad God. So we were all like, oh, that's it for old Mad God. If Art gives it 3 stars. close personal friend Art, it might be the end, but we'll see where things shake out. Let's see. So Danny gave his second. Proto, that was your third. I think Danny, technically, we're on your third. If you want to get technical about it. Let it out.
My one of my notes is, well, I think it was also my letterboxed. Is Phil okay? Because some of the creation of these characters is disgust. Like I've said disgusting plenty of times. They're terrifying. There's one in particular where I'm going to do my best to not be too vulgar.
Let it out.
Where there's a character that has giant balls, but also these balls are eyes, and he's stomping and eating. I think I looked away for a second from the screen because I don't know. I was so confounded on what I was looking at. It was gross, like insanely gross. And there were so many moments of that in this film where I'm just like, how did he think this up? Like, how did he come up with some of this stuff? And it's just, I would love to just sit and talk to Phil and be like, Phil, hey man, how did you do? Like, could you have sketches? Like, I would love to see like pre-concepts of what you were thinking about making this stuff, because it's incredible. Like it's some of, I think this is the grossest film I've ever seen. It has to be top tier.
How about when that man bull was getting jayed off in that alleyway?
I'm glad that was a quick scene too, because I wasn't sure how much I wanted to watch that.
Oh my God. I didn't catch it until my second viewing, so it was worth it.
Yeah.
You didn't catch it the first time?
No, I didn't catch it the first time. I just saw the bull man and his harem.
Lord have mercy.
And then I looked, on second viewing, I looked down to see what was going on.
Danny, you say those are giant balls. I thought they were giant boobs hanging off the back of them. Eye boobs.
No. Because it had a penis.
Oh, okay. I'll take
swinging
your word
around. This was amazing. There was a lot going on in that scene.
There's a lot of W's flying around. There was that one
watch it
where
again.
the characters were flinging the poop, and they had those masks, and then they were getting electrocuted. Oh my God. Rough scene. Rough. Proto, you already gave your third. Did you have that?
Slim.
Yeah.
My third is probably going to be honorable mention. So
do it.
The surgery scene looked like the blood was barbecue sauce. It looked like Stubbs barbecue sauce. I wanted to have a little taste. The city in ruins portion with that second assassin, I thought that was badass. Oh, I want to hang out in that world like for another 10 hours in some kind of like mini series. I wanted to know how that motorcycle was working or the Jeep. I feel like it's probably some kind of nuclear fallout that would prevent those things from working, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about the shot of the Jeep, the overhead shot where there was like the crossroads where you could clearly tell it was just like mud, and then he just like took like a razor blade and like cleared it out. But it looks so cool though.
Yeah.
Also, one of my honorable mentions, I'm pretty sure that's the first assassin. I can't remember if it was the first or second assassin. They're looking at a house in the distance. It looks like the Psycho house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I saw a hot dog
100%.
going in and out of a bun very quickly back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
IYK.
Speaking to you.
There were so many action figures hidden throughout it too. Did you catch the...
No.
What's the Ed from RoboCop 2?
Ed 209.
Yeah, there was an Ed just sitting in ruins.
I didn't see that.
There was it Robbie the robot? Is that what his name is from Lost in Space, I guess? There's just any toy that he had was just like laying around. It was insane. I loved it.
The poop monster, the electro pooping scene, the moving camera shot. So those are all my honorable mentions. That'll be my top three. So Proto, honorable mentions, last thoughts?
Honorable mentions. There's a scene, I think it's after the surgery scene where it's the scene, you see the guy, the real live actor, Alex Cox. I forget, I don't know what his name is, but he has the long fingernails. But before that, you see him like looking out a window, and it's like this giant windstorm going on, and there's these figures out there who look like the divers, the assassin guys, like working out, and that the weather effect in that scene was just incredible. Like the wind whipping around, really amazing stuff. The scenes with the Jeep, there was this one. He's like looks at his map and it has like little spikes, and then he looks up and it's just like a valley of skulls on spikes that looked amazing as well. There was like a war zone that he was traveling through with amazing explosions. I mean, I understand everybody can have, different opinion. You don't get this movie. It might not be for you. But to me, this is a friggin' masterpiece. This isn't a 5-star movie. What is? This is like, spoke to me. This spoke to me on a different level. Like did Phil make this movie for me? That's a good question. That's what I want to ask him. I love this. This felt like it was made for me. So 5 stars.
Wow. Incredible.
Holy cow. Sheesh. Leviticus does it again. One other note about the car. Oh, there was obviously like that when the assassin was driving the Jeep, it was just like, the camera pulls away. It's just like a remote control Jeep with the stop motion guy in there just like chilling. I thought that was hilarious. So good. I was probably at 3.5 stars in my first viewing. But the second viewing, you wouldn't think watching Mad God a second time would make it more enjoyable, but I got more out of it the second time. So I'm at 4 stars for Mad God.
Wow.
Yeah. I greatly enjoyed it. Mad respect for Phil just getting this completed and pushing it over the finish line.
Incredible. This is like I said, I don't know if I'll ever watch this film again. Maybe get that 4K release from someone. I honestly had it was like a love-hate with this movie. I hated like so much of what I was seeing, but man, it's incredible what he created over so many years, what his team created, the creativity alone, the stop animation alone. I'm sitting at 4 stars as well for this. I really did think that this is a feat of cinema, like to be able to create something like this and have it out there for people. People are going to love it. Proto loved it. Like this is going to connect for people somehow. And I'm here for it.
I'm watching this every Sunday morning.
Mad God ends. 90s action month begins. Next week on this podcast, we're finally choosing our own movies for this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
According to Danny, it's been like 40 episodes since we were able to choose our own movies individually.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I didn't do the math. I can't do the math on that. It's not possible. Before we get Proto's pick, Danny, do you want to guess at all? Do you want to guess
what Proto's pick?
You want to guess 90s action? What do you think Proto would pick?
It's going to be shocker. It's going to be a shocker. It's not going to be something we expect. That's the thing. So guessing's going to be impossible, I think. Is it going to be our first Mel Gibson movie? Our first Bruce Willis? Like that's the questions I'm asking right now.
He teased in Discord. By the way, if you're not a member of Discord, you can join our Patreon. He teased the Star Trek The Next Generation movie universe as a potential 90s action pick.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to guess, Slim? What are you going to guess?
I feel like it has to be an Arnold.
You think
after all his talk, after all these months, you think he's not going to pick an Arnold? He's been like, I want 90s movies. What if we did Arnold? Arnold.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's True Lies, I'm going to lose it.
That's going to be a library rental. I'll tell you that much right now.
I'm going to lose it.
All right, Proto, let's hear your thoughts.
My thoughts. Well, sometimes I do like to go on a limb and take a chance on myself and on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I figure, I won the poll. My category got picked. I'm the first pick of the 90s action month. So I don't want to set us off on the wrong foot. Okay.
We've been there.
I don't want to do this wrong. So I'm going to go, some might call this a safe pick. But I also think I think there's redemption here. This is also a redemptive pick.
Okay.
There is a movie that has come up in the past and got overlooked quite a few times. So I wanted to have its time. 1990, beginning of the decade. How much more fitting can you get? 1991, Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves.
No way.
Point Break.
Oh my
Let's go.
God. Catherine Bigelow.
Excuse me.
We have a Catherine Bigelow pin
I know.
on the storefront right now. This is streaming on HBO Max.
Yes.
I can't even keep up with chat right now. Chat is.
I made sure that it was streaming somewhere. I did it this time.
I don't want to get Wonkar Wade off the show.
What a
Holy
pick.
smokes. Patrick Swayze back on the show
He's back, man.
after Roadhouse. 100. The tagline for this movie: 100% pure adrenaline.
God. Yeah.
Do you believe?
I've never seen it,
Oh my God.
which is another reason.
I don't remember the last time I see it. I have it logged as watched, so I haven't seen it in the last few years.
I watched it recently. It's a recent log job for me.
Let me check out Danny's log. See if I can find
Excuse
it.
me. Sir.
Check out his log, Phil Tippett style.
Danny's got a nice juicy heart on this one. Onward and upward.
We did it.
We left the negativity behind us. You know?
Yes.
We don't forget
Yes,
it.
that's good.
We keep it in the back of our minds. That's how we grow. We left it somewhere else, but we're moving onward. Proto, any closing thoughts this week before we move into 90s action, Point Break?
Yeah, thinking about Phil Tippett having a passion project that took 30 years to complete. Sometimes I get demoralized after a week of working on something. So, whatever you're working on out there, it might, it could take a week, it could take a year, it could take 30 years. And Phil Tippett did it, so we can do it too. Stick with it. That's all I have to say.
We'll see everybody next week. $70mm is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large, Dale_A. Transcripts provided by Sophie Shin and music composed by Cinematric. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.